funny and elegant.
No, madam. Could I interest you in a bucket?
Were there jokes told in your house? Or was it stories, or was there mick-taking of other people? What kind of laughs were they?
I think there were more, anecdotes, things that had actually happened, like when Auntie Vera got her latest set of dentures and they were so uncomfortable that she took them out in the restaurant and put them under the napkin and then, of course, left the restaurant and then had to go back an hour later and go through the trash can or dustbin. This kind of stuff. Yeah. Or actually Mother, who was wonderfully naive, getting into the lift at Piccadilly Circus and going down and then getting out, think she'd arrived at the next station. Stories like that. But I don't think there was a great deal of laughter at the dinner table. But Dad sometimes said things I thought were very funny. I remember we were watching a variety show once, and there was some act on, and he just said to me very seriously, he said, "I don't think this will ever replace entertainment, do you?" And I thought that was terribly funny and elegant. I did discover when I went to school, I don't think I mixed in at all well for the first year. And then I discovered by making sly remarks, because I was never naughty in a sort of brave way that got you punished, but I would make subversive remarks and get laughs. And that made me popular. So I suspect that I had a real psychological motivation for actually wanting to be funny.
And were there any teachers that sort of nurtured any skills in you that might be useful later?
No, I don't think so. No, I really don't. It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Not something that was praised anywhere at school?
No, because the funny thing is, no teacher at any point in my school career commented, or I suspect even noticed, that I had a glimmer of creativity in me. I mean, it was completely... Because the only ones who did that were the ones who wrote poems about carpets of snow and using the word verdant. You know what I mean? They were immediately spotted as
yes.
very creative,
yes.
you know? There are a few brilliant boys been noticed, but not for creativity, because they had great memories. I loved comedy. I watched a lot of it on the television. A lot of it was American, but particularly Tony Hancock and the Goons, which, of course, people followed as though they were Manchester United. You know, it was a sense of excitement, and you were part of the group that loved the Goons. And then I did get involved in sort of house entertainments. By which I mean once or twice a term, my house, which consisted of about 80 people, would put a little show on. And it was, of course, terribly amateur. But we did one or two things that were quite funny.
When, then, did the idea of comedy as a possible career occur to you?
Oh, when I was about 23. It never occurred to me. Because, you see, just after my time in the Footlights at Cambridge, everybody started thinking about show business. But before that, one or two exceptional people had done it, like Peter Cook. But no, all the people in my year, 1963, we all had jobs, or advertising or teaching. I was going to be a lawyer, I was going to be a solicitor. And then this show happened out of the blue, which was much better than we expected, because we had some talented people like Tim Brooke Taylor and Bill Oddie and David Hatch, and Humphrey Bartley produced it, who was marvelous. And suddenly there were people there in suits sort of talking about putting it in the West End, and other people, different people, in different suits, asking us whether we wanted to join the BBC. And it was sort of, what? And I thought, yeah, I think writing jokes would be much nicer than sitting in a lawyer's office. Plus, I got paid 2.5 times as much. I mean, I was in the lawyer's office, Freshfields, solicitors to the Bank of England. I was going to get £12 a week. And writing for Dick Emery and Derek Guyler, I got 30 quid a week. So I was happy, and I didn't have to wear a suit.
So it was writing, mainly writing?
Oh, yes, entirely. I was given a job as a writer-producer. Yeah.
So when was the first time that you actually performed for cash?
Oh, how interesting. I think we did one or two radio shows just after we left Cambridge. I think we used the material from the Footlights show, and I must have got a fee for that, probably £12 again. Because the funny thing is, Dawn, I mean, we did get paid so very little. You know, I mean, when I started on the Frost Report, I got 70 quid a show, you know. And at the beginning of Monty Python, I was getting 240 quid a show. So the sums were tiny, but I think probably 1963, 2 or 3 radio shows, probably 10, 15 quid a time.
Tiny amounts, but still enough to allow you to think this could be a living.
Yes, I don't know really where it was taking me in a funny kind of way, because I thought of myself as a writer. I wasn't a performer for some time when I first joined the BBC. And it didn't bother me at all. I didn't miss it. I didn't think, oh, I wish I was performing. But I liked writing, and I liked writing jokes. I never really wanted to say anything seriously or solemnly. I always wanted to use humor, even if what I was saying had a serious undertone, you know.
Were you writing on your own then, John?
Yes, I was, which was one of the few times in my life. And then I came out to America with the Footlights. And we did the show on Broadway for 3 weeks, and the New York Times hated it. And then after that, I did a Broadway musical, which was only funny because I was, of course, only in the chorus numbers. And I sang so badly that the musical director made me mime. I was not allowed to sing, so I was sitting there half a sixpence.
Yes. Were you singing Half a Sixpence?
Yeah.
Was that the musical?
That was the musical, Tommy Steele.
Yes.
Yeah. 1965.
And when was the first TV that you were very delighted with?
Well, I sort of struggled through the Frost Report. I was very happy to be in it, but I was terrified. We used to do it live to 14 million people. I've never been so scared in my life. I remember I used to have a pee about 3 times in the hour before the show, and I can still remember at that dear old theatre on Shepherd's Bush Green, looking in the mirror one day and thinking, I don't think I could be any more frightened if I was going into a bull ring with a bull. I remember thinking I couldn't be more frightened. So I sort of struggled through that, and then I think I began to really enjoy it when Tim Brooke Taylor, Marty Feldman, Graham and I, and Amy MacDonald started to do the 1948 show, because it was very late night. It only went out in a few regions. Nobody cared very much. There was no spotlight on it, and we were able to do some deliciously silly things. And we kind of trying things, you know what I mean? We did. I thought, it wasn't like anything else on the television.
But you were playing with ideas then, you were experimenting a little bit.
Yes. You see, when we were doing the Frost Report, we often would come up with really silly ideas, and the producer-director, was a lovely man called Jimmy Gilbert, used to smile genuinely and then very tolerantly say yes, but they wouldn't understand it in Bradford. And in the end, when we did this crazy stuff, we discovered that maybe not many people in Bradford understood it, but enough. And that sort of gave us the courage later on, I think, to go on being silly in that direction with Python.
And did you, in those early days, did you create a comedy persona that you thought, I'm happy with this and I think I can see a way to make this work?
I think I automatically fell into playing sort of bland middle-class people. You know what I mean? The professionals, the accountants and the lawyers and, I don't know, the architects. So I think I fell into that because of the public school background. The only other thing was that I always liked humor with a bit of an edge to it. And what I discovered was, so did the audience. And people have often said, well, there's quite an edge, you know, humor or sort of anger underneath it. The answer is that's because people laugh at it. If they hadn't laughed at it, I wouldn't have gone in that direction. But I think it was W.C. Fields who once said, to make somebody laugh, all you need to do is to dress an actor up as a very old woman and have her dodder along the street and then fall down a coal hill. But, he said, to make a professional comedian laugh, it really has to be an old woman. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think comics have got this hard edge to them, even if they don't show it very much to their audience. And I like those kind of quite edgy, sharp, hard jokes. And the producers were always saying to me, oh, I don't think we better say that. And I'd say, let's just say it. It's only radio. And if it doesn't get a laugh, cut it out. And it always got a laugh. So I thought, oh, that's nice. So humor that I liked anyway was very much confirmed by the audience reaction.
Do you think men are more cruel when it comes to humour?
I think men are a bit more armoured when it comes to humour. I think that I think we spend